Hello students, I welcome you all to ePadashala. This is Dr. P. A. Rajeshwari, Assistant Professor, Department of Food Science and Nutrition, Avinashalingam Institute for Home Science and Higher Education for Women, Coimbatore. Today, we are going to learn about graphical representation in this module. Graphical representation is the visual display of data using plots and charts. It is used in many academic and professional disciplines, but most widely so in the field of mathematics, medicine and sciences. Graphical representation helps to quantify, sort and present data in a method that is understandable to a large variety of audience. A graph is the representation of data by using graphical symbols such as lines, bars, pie slices, dots, etc. A graph does not represent a numerical data in the form of a qualitative structure and provides important information. Statistical surveys and experiments provides valuable information about numerical scores. For better understanding and making conclusions and interpretations, the data should be managed and well organized in a systematic form. Graphs enable in studying both series and frequency distribution as they give clear account and precise picture of the problem. Above all, graphs are all easy to understand and eye-catching and can create a strong impact on memory. Now let us have a look at the general principles to be followed in graphical representation. There are some algebraic principles which apply to all types of graphical representation of data. In a graph, there are two lines called coordinate axes. One is the vertical known as y-axis and the other is the horizontal called x-axis. These two lines are perpendicular to each other. Where these two lines intersect each other is called 0 or the origin. On the x-axis, the distances right to the origin have positive value and the distances left to the origin have negative value. On the y-axis, distances above the origin have positive value and below the origin have negative value. This graph is an example for the above said dimensions. Let us now move on to the types of graphical representation. The various types of graphical representation of the data can be divided into 5 types, which includes dot plots, bar graph, line graph, circle graph, histogram and frequency polygon. Now let us see them in detail. Dot plots. The dot plot is one of the most simplest ways of graphical representation of the statistical data. As the name itself suggests, a dot plot uses the dots. It is a graphic display which usually compares frequency within different categories. The dot plot is composed of dots that are to be plotted on a graph paper. In the dot plot, every dot denotes a specific number of observations belonging to a data set. One dot usually represents one observation. These dots are to be marked in the form of a column for each category. In this way, the height of each column shows the corresponding frequency of some other category. The dot plots are quite useful when there are small amounts of data is given within the small number of categories. Next comes the bar graph. A bar graph is a very useful, frequently used graph in statistics as well as in media. A bar graph is a type of graph which contains rectangles or rectangular bars. The length of these bars should be proportional to the numerical values represented by them. In bar graph, the bars may be plotted either horizontally or vertically, but a vertical bar graph is used more than a horizontal one. This vertical bar graph is also known as column bar graph. Now you can have a look at the vertical bar graph, which denotes the number of students who went to other countries for pursuing their higher studies. The rectangular bars are separated by some distance in order to distinguish them from one another. The bar graph shows comparison among the given categories. Mostly horizontal axis of the graph represent specific categories and the vertical axis shows the discrete numerical values. Next, we will move on to line graph. A line graph is a kind of graph which represents data in a way that a series of points are to be connected by segments of straight lines. In a line graph, the data points are plotted on a graph and they are joined together with straight line. A simple line graph is illustrated in the following diagram. The line graphs are used in the science, statistics and media. Line graphs are very easy to create. These are quite popular in comparison with other graphs. Since they visualize characteristics revealing data trends very clearly. A line graph gives a clear visual comparison between two variables which are represented on x-axis and y-axis. Next comes the circle graph. A circle graph is also known as pie graph or pie chart. It is called so since it is similar to slice of a pie. A pie graph is defined as a graph which contains a circle which is divided into number of sectors. These sectors illustrate the numerical portion of the data. Here we can have a look at the pie chart which is divided into 5 divisions representing each different units. The arc lengths of the sector in a pie chart are proportional to the numerical value they represent. Circle graphs are quite commonly seen in mass media as well as in business world. Next comes the histogram and frequency polygon. The histograms and frequency polygons are very common graphs in statistics. A histogram is defined as a graphical representation of the mutually exclusive events. A histogram is quite similar to the bar diagram. Both are made up of rectangular bars. The difference is that there is no gap between any two bars in the histogram. The histogram is used to represent the continuous data. A histogram may look like the following graph. The frequency polygon is a type of graphical representation which gives us better understanding of the shape of the given distribution. Frequency polygons serve almost the similar purpose as histograms do, but the frequency polygon is quite helpful for the purpose of comparing two or more sets of data, whereas the histogram denotes only one set of data. The frequency polygons are said to be the extension of the histogram. When the midpoints of the tops of the rectangular bars are joined together, the frequency polygon is made. Let us have a look at the sample of frequency polygon where we can see about the number of students and their scores. For example, few examples of graphical representation of statistical data are given below which can make you understand better with relevant examples. Example 1. Now we can see about the few examples of graphical representation of statistical data which are given below which can make you understand better. Example 1. Draw a dot plot for the following data which has two variables, that is favorite colors and the number of students. The line graph of the following data is given below. Example 2. Plot a bar graph from the data given below which has students and their marks. Solution. The following bar graph is obtained as follows. Example 3. Draw a histogram from the given data which includes test score and the frequency. Here we can see the following histogram drawn for the above said data. Example 4. The percentage of students who use the different methods of transportation are as follows. 40% of the students go by school bus, 25% of the students go to school by walking, 20% of the students go by bicycle, and the rest 15% go by car. Now draw a pie chart. The pie graph of the above data is given below. Next we will have a clear idea about the methods to represent a frequency distribution. Generally, 4 methods are used to represent a frequency distribution graphically. These are histogram, smooth frequency graph, and ogive or cumulative frequency graph, and pie diagram. First, histogram. Histogram is a non-cumulative frequency graph. It is drawn on a natural scale in which the representative frequencies of the different classes of values are represented through vertical rectangles drawn close to each other. Measures of central tendency mode can be easily determined with the help of this graph. Dear students, we can have a step-by-step look at the procedure followed for drawing a histogram. Step 1. Represent the class intervals of the variables along the x-axis and their frequencies along the y-axis on natural scale. Step 2. Start x-axis with the lower limit of the lowest class interval. When the lower limit happens to be a distinct score from the origin, give a break in the x-axis, that is n, to indicate that the vertical axis has been moved in for convenience. Step 3. Now draw rectangular bars in parallel to y-axis above each of the class intervals with class units as base. The areas of rectangles must be proportional to the frequencies of the corresponding classes. Let us now see about the advantages of histogram. It is easy to draw and simple to understand. It helps to understand the distribution easily and quickly. And last, it is more precise than the polygon. Limitations of histogram. It is not possible to plot more than one distribution on same axis as histogram. Comparison of more than one frequency distribution on the same axis is not possible. It is not possible to make it smooth. Coming to the uses of histogram, it represents the data in graphic form, provides the knowledge of how the scores in a group can be distributed, whether the sources are piled up at the lower or higher end of the distribution or are very evenly and regularly distributed throughout the scale. Frequency polygon is a frequency graph which is drawn by joining the coordinating points of the mid values of the class intervals and their corresponding frequencies. Let us discuss how to draw a frequency polygon. Step 1. Draw a horizontal line at the bottom of the graph paper named OX axis. Mark of the exact limits of the class interval along this axis. It is better to start with I of lowest value. When the lowest score in the distribution is a large number, we cannot show it graphically if we start with the origin. Therefore, put up a break in the x-axis to indicate that the vertical axis has been moved in for convenience. 2 additional points may be added to the extreme ends. Step 2. Draw a vertical line through the extreme end of the horizontal axis known as OY axis. Along this line of mark the units to represent the frequencies of the class intervals. The scale should be chosen in a way that it will make the largest frequency of the polygon approximately 75% of the width of the figure. Step 3. Plot the points at a height proportional to the frequencies directly above the point on the horizontal axis representing the midpoint of each class interval. Step 4. After plotting all the points on the graph, join these points by a series of short straight lines to form the frequency polygon. In order to complete the figure, two additional intervals at the high end and lower end of distribution should be included. The frequency of these two intervals will be 0. Dear students, now we will have a look at the drawing method of a frequency polygon from the following data: marks in mathematics and the number of students. Solution: in this graph, we shall take the class intervals, that is marks in mathematics, in x-axis and frequencies, that is number of students, in the y-axis. Before plotting the graph, we have to convert the cumulative intervals into their exact limits and extend one cumulative interval in each end with a frequency of 0. Now let us see about the advantages of frequency polygon. It is easy to draw and simple to understand. It is possible to plot two distributions at a time on same axis. Comparison of two distributions can be made through frequency polygon, and it is possible to make it smooth. Whereas the limitations are, it is less precise, it is not accurate in terms of area and the frequency upon each interval. The uses of the frequency polygon are as follows. When two or more distributions are to be compared, the frequency polygon is used. It represents the data in graphical form. It provides knowledge of how the scores in one or more group are distributed, whether the scores are piled up at the lower or higher end of the distribution or evenly and regularly distributed throughout the scale. Smoothed frequency polygon. When the sample is very small and the frequency distribution is irregular, the polygon is very zigzag. In order to wipe out the irregularities and also to get a better notion of how the figure might look if the data were more numerous, the frequency polygon may be smoothed. In this process, to adjust the frequencies, we take a series of moving or running averages. To get an adjusted or smoothed frequency, we add the frequency as a class interval with the two adjustment intervals just below and above the class interval. Then the sum is divided by 3. When these adjusted frequencies are plotted against the class intervals on a graph, we get a smooth frequency polygon. Coming to the example, draw a smooth frequency polygon of the data illustrated below. Here we have to convert the class interval into their exact limits. Then we have to determine the adjusted or smoothed frequencies. Ogive or cumulative frequency polygon. Ogive is a cumulative frequency graphs drawn on natural scale to determine the values of certain factors like median, quartile, percentile, etc. In these graphs, the exact limits of the class intervals are shown along the x-axis and the cumulative frequencies are shown along the y-axis. Below are the given steps to draw an ogive. Step 1. Get the cumulative frequency by adding the frequencies cumulatively from the lower end or from the upper end. Step 2. Mark off the class intervals in the x-axis. Step 3. Represent the cumulative frequencies along the y-axis beginning with 0 at the base. Step 4. Put dots at each of the coordinating points of the upper limit and the corresponding frequencies. Step 5. Join all the dots with the line drawing smoothly. This will result in a curve called ogive. Now we can have a look at the example. Draw an ogive from the data given below. which includes marks in history and the number of students obtaining the marks. Solution: to plot this graph, we have to convert the class intervals into their exact limits. Then we have to calculate the cumulative frequencies of the distribution. Now we have to plot the cumulative frequencies in respect to their corresponding class intervals. OGIF plotted from the data is given above. OGIF plotted from the data given above is illustrated in this figure. Uses of OGIF. OGIF is useful to determine the number of students below and above a particular score. When the median as a measure of central tendency is wanted, when the quartiles, deciles and percentiles are wanted, and by plotting the scores of two groups on a small scale, we can compare both the groups. As I already mentioned, pie diagram is widely used in the field of statistics where very simple data are documented. The figure given below shows the distribution of elementary pupils by their academic achievement in a school. Out of the total, 60% are high achievers, 25% are middle achievers and 15% are low achievers. The construction of this pie diagram is quite simple. There are 360 degrees in this circle. Hence, 60% of 360 or 216 degrees are counted off as shown in the figure. This sector represents the proportion of high achiever students. 90 degrees counted off for the middle achiever students and 54 degrees for low achiever students. The pie diagram is useful when one wishes to picture portions of the total in a striking way. Number of degrees may be measured off by eye or more accurately with a protractor. Coming to the uses of pie diagram is useful when one wants to picture portions of the total in a striking and eye-catchy way. When a population is stratified and each data is to be presented as a percentage at that time, pie diagram will be very useful. Now let us move on to the purpose of graphical representation. The purpose of graphical representation of data is to provide a quick and easy to read picture of information that clearly shows what otherwise takes a great deal of explanation. The impact of graphical data is typically more pointed and memorable than paragraphs of written information. For example, a person making a presentation regarding sales in various states across the country establishes the point of the presentation to the audience more likely by using a color-coded map rather than mercilessly stating the sales figures for each state. Observers quickly determine which states are ahead and which are behind in sales, and they know the emphasis needs to be placed. Alternatively, when making a presentation on sales by age groups using a pie chart that divides the pie into various ages, the audience quickly sees the results of sales by age. This means that the audience is more likely to retain that information than if the presenter simply reads the results aloud or puts it into writing. Coming to the general rules displaying data, that is, simpler is better. Graphs, tables and charts can be used together. Use clear description, title and labels. Provide a narrative description of the highlights. Do not compare variables with different scales of magnitude. A diagram must be attractive, well proportionated, neat and pleasing to the eyes. They should be geometrically accurate. Size of the diagram should be proportional to paper, should not be too big or too long, and different colors should be used to classify the data clearly. The advantages of graphical representation includes the following points. Acceptability. Graphical report is acceptable to the busy persons because it easily highlights about the theme of the report. This helps to avoid wastage of time. Comparative analysis. Information can be compared in terms of graphical representation. Such comparative analysis helps for quick understanding and attention. Less cost. Information, if descriptive, involves huge time to present properly. It involves more money to print the information, but graphical representation can be made in short but catchy weave to make the reporter more understandable. It obviously involves less cost. Decision making. Business executives can weave the graphs at a glance and can make decision very quickly, which is hardly possible through descriptive report. Logical ideas. If tables, design and graphs are used to represent information, then a logical sequence is created to clear the idea of the audience. Helpful for less illiterate audience. Less illiterate or illiterate people can understand graphical representation easily because it does not involve going through line by line of any descriptive report. Less effort and time. To present any table, design, image or graphs require less effort and time. Furthermore, such presentation makes quick understanding of the information. Less error and mistakes. Qualitative or informative or descriptive reports involve errors or mistakes. As graphical representations are exhibited through numerical figures, tables or graphs, it usually involves less error and mistake. A complete idea. Such presentation creates clear and complete idea in the mind of the audience. Reading 100 pages may not give any scope to make decision, but an instant view or looking at a glance obviously makes an impression in the mind of the audience regarding the topic or subject. Use in the notice board. Such representation can be hanged in the notice board to quickly raise the attention of employees in any organization. Disadvantages. Graphical representation of reports is not free from limitations. It also has some disadvantages. Costly. Graphical representation of reports are costly because it involves images, colors and paints. Combination of material with human efforts make the graphical representation expensive. More time. Normal report involves less time to represent, but graphical representation involves more time. Errors and mistakes. Since graphical representations are complex, there is each and every chance of errors and mistakes. This causes problems for better understanding to general people. Lack of secrecy. Graphical representation makes full representation of information which may hamper the objective to keep smoothing secret. Problems to select the suitable method. Information can be presented through various graphical methods and ways. Which should be the suitable method is very hard to select. Problem of understanding. All may not be able to get the meaning of graphical representation because it involves the various technical matters which are complex to general people. Last of all, it can be said that graphical representation does not provide proper information to the general people clearly. Dear students, let me summarize by stating that graphical representation makes the data more possible to draw visual impression of the data. Graphical representation of data enhances the understanding of the observer. It makes the comparisons more easy and effective. This kind of method creates an imprint on the mind for a longer period of time than other methods of presentation. Well, in this chapter, we have discussed about the definition, types, advantages, disadvantages in detail with relevant examples which will have an impact in the power of understanding. I request you all to go through the various types of graphs commonly used in research studies with special reference to home science to explore new ideas in the field of research. Thank you.